Dear all participants, within the scope of Yaşar University Graduate Education Institute Seminar Series, today Melih Coşkun, who works at Vakıfbank, gives a seminar titled Fintech in Turkey, Exploring Outline Payment System Adoption Factors in Turkish Banking Industry. Melih Coşkun started his career as an auditor in the banking sector in 2007 and is still working as a branch manager in Vakıfbank. Coşkun, who has 15 years of sector experience, continued his career in the academic field as well as started in PhD education at Yaşar University Finance Department in 2015. Coşkun, who is at the thesis stage in the department mentioned above, continues his research in the field of fintech. Now I give the floor to Melih Coşkun.
Okay. Hello. Fintech in Turkey, exploring online payment system adoption factors in Turkish banking industry. And the concept of e-commerce has emerged and financial technological development has first appeared on e-commerce platforms with the widespread use of the internet. And especially after the global crisis of 2008, with the decrease in the confidence in the banking sector, the development of fintech movement has accelerated. Financial technology is now widely used in a variety of applications, the most prominent of which are online payment systems. Because of advancements in online payment technologies, financial transactions have become faster and more affordable in recent years. In the long term, the aim is to eliminate the intermediaries in financial activities through the technological revolution in payment system, thanks to fintech. There is no study measuring the change in payment system and adaptation to this change with the development of financial technologies. The major goal of this study is to investigate factors that affect the attitude, behavioral intention, and actual usage of online payment systems. Technology acceptance model is extended with a number of influential factors in online payment system adoption. This work aims to contribute online payment services, the effects of which can be seen in the nation's e-commerce activities. The next section presents fintech services and next generation payment instruments. The third section is a literature review, and the fourth section provides theoretical background that discusses the factors affecting the adoption of online payment systems. The fifth section covers...
We cannot see your presentation.
Sorry. Yeah, is it okay?
No, I'm still not seeing it, but...
Yes, it's working and it's recording. I see you and other.
We see your, I think we see your page, but it's like seminar, Melih Coşkun, IMG, and other things. But you have to open the PowerPoint, I think.
Yes, I opened the PowerPoint. Oh, sorry. Okay. Fintech, especially during the Second World War, communication and technological development accelerated and automation was used and spread in production. But the financial services industry remained analog until 1967. This period is called Fintech 1.0. Along with the technological developments experienced after the war, the digitalization process in financial services started and electronic payment systems developed. The first machine to provide payment services, ATM, was established in London in 1967. The development of digital technology from 1967 to 2008 brought about digitalization in communication and financial transactions. This period is called Fintech 2.0. And since the beginning of the 2000s, the internet has developed rapidly, and financial technology companies had the opportunity to grow and develop faster. And after the 2008 global financial crisis, financial products and services have started to be offered directly to businesses, the public, and banks, thanks to the new initiatives and established companies in the field of financial technology. This period is called Fintech 3.0. It can be said that every war enables the development of technological infrastructure, and every economic crisis directs investors to new investment areas. However, it's observed that investors have turned to new and technological financial investments with the decrease of trust in the public and the regulations in financial instruments, especially after the 2008 financial crisis. Fintech offers new opportunities to people in the financial field by increasing transparency, reducing costs, removing intermediaries, and making financial information available. Therefore, we can also name Fintech as a technology that includes innovative financial services offered by integrating technology into the financial system. The main categories that are widely used can be listed as financing, asset management, payments, and other fintechs. And payments, today, with the contribution of technological development, the transition process from cash payments to card payments and from card payments to mobile payments has accelerated. The type of payment where cash is not used and payments are made electronically is expressed as a digital payment system. Digital payments are technically defined as any payments made using digital instruments. In digital payment, the payer and the payee both use electronic modes to send and receive money. And electronic payment methods can be expressed as non-cash payment methods that emerged with the developing technology. Today, the most common electronic payment method is payments, which made through card payment systems. Card payment systems are divided into two: debit cards and credit cards. Electronic money is defined as a monetary value, electronic stored on a technological device that can be widely used to make payments to entities other than the issuer of e-money. A bank account is not required for transactions. The device used for transactions acts like a prepaid barrier instrument. According to Bank for International Settlements, BIS, electronic money is expressed as a value stored in consumers' electronic devices for multi-purpose uses or prepaid products. These definitions refer to monetary value, not money. For electronic money to be accepted as money or monetary value, it must be accepted as a means of payment by real and legal persons other than the issuer of electronic money. And next generation payment tools, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic that affected the whole world in 2020, shopping without physical contact came to the fore, and it was observed that the demand for new generation payment instrument increased. And mobile payments as next generation payment tools refers to the payment of goods, services, and invoices using a mobile device that uses wireless and other communication technologies. And mobile payment users, we can see that the number of people using mobile payment systems is relatively low compared to the number of mobile phones registered in the world. On the other hand, the situation shows that there are still new opportunities in terms of developing and marketing these payment systems. And near-field communication, it's a wireless communication technology that provides close-range communication between electronic devices as an extension of radio frequency identification technology. And quick response code, we know it's a new generation two-dimensional barcode type developed by the Japanese company Densowave for use in automobile industry. The content code can be any data, including text, website address, and video link. Digital wallet is explained as a computer software application that stores and transmits payment authorization data for one or more credit or deposit accounts. The consumer can use the wallet as a payment device by uploading the payment account information to the digital wallet. And biometric payment can be defined as the payments consumers make by verifying their identity with a unique feature such as fingerprint, eye, or voice during payment transactions. And blockchain technologies. One of the financial services offered by fintech companies in payment services is blockchain. And the concept of blockchain emerged with a Bitcoin article published by Satoshi Nakamoto on October 31, 2008. Blockchain technology is based on decentralized distributed ledger technology. The operations recorded in the system are hidden by encryption. Encryption is ensured between the sender and the recipient, and the transactions are closed to outside intervention. Asymmetric encryption and summarization functions have an essential role in encryption. And blockchain, the data is generated, verified, and cryptographically blocked with the help of this system. Therefore, in the blocks formed by the addition of the data and in the blockchain formed by the addition of the blocks, each process is recorded and never deleted. In the blockchain system, transactions can be carried out without any need for any central authority, without any intermediary, and everyone can participate, and all data can be viewed transparently. And each transaction has a cryptography signature and a timestamp in this system. Therefore, these records cannot be tracked or copied at any time. And areas where the blockchain can be used in the public sector: voting, document management, smart contracts, digital identity, digital passport, tax, and social security system. And blockchain usage areas of blockchain technology: finance sector, payment transactions, transfer transactions, purchase sale platforms, authorization, digital identity management, and document management. Financing. Crowdfunding is a platform that brings investors and entrepreneurs together through social media website and increases the number of investors that can distribute funds. By means of this platform, fund suppliers and fund seekers eliminate the financial intermediaries, both borrowing and lending from the more appropriate rates and ensuring that transactions are performed more quickly. And asset management. Automated investment advisors, known as robo-advisor, can be defined as online financial advisors that are developed as an alternative to traditional investment management and automatically constructed, optimizing and managing customers' investment portfolios using algorithms. With robo-advisors, investors expect transparency, low cost, fast solutions, broad market availability, traditional asset management, and business models to be rearranged. Insurance. After the rapid expansion of the technological developments in the financial sector, The forecasts and studies for the future indicate that technological developments will be widely used in the insurance sector and will be demanded by financial customers. And developments that are expected to become trend with technological renewal in insurance sector, blockchain in commercial areas and reinsurance, use of artificial intelligence in the context of correspondence robots and virtual customer representatives that companies use before the compensation stages. Internet of insurance with the world becoming increasingly connected, and technologically backed cyber insurance solutions and services. For example, by equipping the cars with wireless internet access, the car can share all the data on the internet, and the accident risk of the user can be created more clearly, and the user can be warned about the accident, and the possibility of accident can be reduced. In addition, the user may be given the opportunity to insure a lower cost in the insurance transactions. In addition, this data can reduce the verification costs of accidents and prevent fake accident claims. And fintech adoption can be expressed as a process of perception that affects the user's intentions and behaviors about the use of fintech. And we can see that international progress of fintech according to fintech report prepared by KPMG. Each quarter, fintech investments which totaled $38.1 billion in 2017 reached $105 billion in 2020 and jumped to $226 billion in 2021. And looking at this service conducted between 2015 and 2019, it seemed that fintech services for insurance have increased the popularity of insurtech significantly, but that money transfer and payment-oriented, it's believed that the increase in the rate of adoption of money transfers and payments depend mainly on e-commerce based past transaction experiences. In Turkey, according to Interbank Card Center, BKM data for 2022, 99.5 million credit cards in Turkey and 240.5 million debit and prepaid cards in use. Compared to October 2021, the number of credit cards increased by 19%, and the number of debit and prepaid cards increased by 19%. The total number of cards reached 314 million, an increase of 70% compared to the same period last year. And according to BKM data, a total of 3.7 trillion Turkish liras was paid in 2022 with debit cards and credit cards. Of this amount, 2.9 trillion Turkish liras was used by credit cards and 688.5 billion by debit cards. When the growth rates are examined, the growth rate of payments made by debit card was 110% compared to the same period of the previous year, while this rate was 146% for payments made by credit card. The growth of total card payments was 170%. And the amount of online card payments increased by 126% in 2022 compared to the same period of the previous year and exceeded 1.2 trillion Turkish liras. And the share of online card payments in total card payments reached 26%. In other words, 1 Turkish liras of every 4 Turkish lira card payment was made online. And contactless payment have also become one of the most widely issued payment tools. Contactless payment reached 904 million in 2022, an increase of 212% compared to the same period of previous year. The share of contactless payment in in-store payments increased, and 2 out of every 3 in-store payments were made contactless in 2022. And legal framework of fintech in Turkey. Legislation relating to payment system in Turkey has been regulated with the law on payment and security settlement systems, payment services and electronic money institutions numbered 6493 and published in 27 June 2013. With this law, the authority to make transactions related to payment system and transfers in Turkey is also given to institutions other than banks. And the law covers payment and securities reconciliation systems, payment services, payment institutions, and electronic money institutions. And with the introduction of PCD2, which was first named as the Payment Service Directive by the European Union in 2007 and was put into effect in 2009, in the European Union in recent years, the issue of open banking has gained importance. And in PCD2, which has not been fully implemented, even though it came into force in 2015, it has become mandatory for all banks in European Union member countries to open customer data and transactions to licensed companies. Therefore, while open banking was an initiative for banks, it became a mandatory approach with this law. And in Turkey, issued in 2018, draft regulation on the Bank of Information Systems and Electronic Banking Services. For the first time, Banking Regulation and Supervision Agency defined the public banking concept as electronic banking services and open banking service in authentication and transaction security criteria try to identify for the banks. And this offer number 7192, law on the payment and securities settlement systems, payment services and electronic money institutions, and the amendment to some laws entered into force on 2020 as a law. In summary, with this law, supervision and regulation authority over payment service provider was taken from the BRSA and given to CBRT. Payment invitation service provision and account information which are open banking products and included in PCD are defined as payment services. Fundamental change is identifying two new payment services compatible with the PCD2. The first is the account information service provider, which provides consolidated information on one or more payment accounts held by the payment service user with either another payment service provider or with more than one payment service provider. AIS enables users to consolidate, for instance, in a single app, information on their payment accounts that are accessible online and held with one or more payment service providers, usually banks. And the service provided by AISP give users an overall view of the financial situation, even if they hold accounts with different institutions. The other is the Payment Initiation Service Provider, PISP, which is a service to initiate a payment order at the payment service user's request with respect to a payment account held at another payment service provider. In the payment initiation service, users can initiate a payment order online without interacting directly with their account's payment service provider. The payment initiation service provider will access the account and initiate the transaction on behalf of the payer. And payment initiation service providers may access information strictly necessary to effect such payment with the express consent of the payer. Users or consumers can choose the payment PISP or ASP that gives them the best and most convenient service and opportunity accounts through this service provider. This will increase the competition between service providers, increase service quality, and reduce service cost. The services provide data sharing between banks and fintech companies subject to permission. Thanks to the APIs that enable these services to be used, banks have switched to API banking and have increased their initiatives to offer high-value added products to their consumers. And according to the last shared valuation dated July 2022 by the BIR API, Open Banking Solutions Initiative, which has periodically followed and experienced the APIs of public and private banks in open banking since the beginning of 2019, 14 of the banks operating in Turkey are working on open banking, and the number of APIs of banks and the developer experience according to the survey conducted with the startups using the APIs. According to the report, some of the banks operating in Turkey do not even have a developer portal yet. And literature review. In the literature, in order to measure the fintech adoption, most frequently used models are as follows: technology acceptance model, innovation diffusion theory, and unified theory of acceptance and use of technology model. And technology acceptance model was developed by Davis in order to predict how technology would be accepted and to perceive usefulness of the new technology. TAM tries to explain how external variables impact internal beliefs, attitudes, and intentions. TIM has two basic determinants: perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use of a technology. And in the studies conducted with TIM and TIM Plus using the adoption to financial technology, especially the studies related to mobile payment systems, have become prominent in recent years. Hanafizadeh et al. Provided insights into the factors influencing mobile banking adoption in Iran. They used independent variables such as compatibility with lifestyle and needs, as well as perceived credibility, perceived trust, perceived cost, and the need for personal interaction, in addition to perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. They aim to determine the influence of each of these independent variables on the intention to use mobile banking. They analyzed 361 bank client survey responses and concluded that compatibility along with lifestyle and perceived trust were the most significant predictors of mobile banking adoption. And the other service relating and NAL investigated how low-income non-users developed their attitudes towards mobile phone banking. They used perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, perceived self-efficacy, and facilitated conditions as independent variables. They sought to comprehend the relationship between these independent variables and attitude. The data collection instrument was a questionnaire distributed to 465 randomly selected low-income non-users. Confirmatory factor analysis was used to validate the survey results. They claimed that perceived ease of use and perceived usefulness have about the equal influence on attitude. Cost and perceived ease of use have an impact on perceived usefulness, mobile phone banking for low-income non-users, and facility conditions and self-efficacy have an impact on perceived ease of use. And facility conditions has a relatively high overall impact on perceived ease of use. Innovation diffusion theory was developed by Rogers. And innovation is an idea, practice, or object that is perceived as new by an individual or another unit of adoption. Diffusion is the process by which an innovation is communicated through certain channels over time among the members of a social system. The IDT theory argues that potential users make decisions to adopt or reject an innovation based on beliefs that they form about the innovation. And IDT includes 5 innovation characteristics: relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, trialability, and observability. Tobin and Coburn employ key constructs from the TAM and IDT to explore the primary factors influencing Ghanaian customers' acceptance and use of mobile money transfer technology. As independent variables, they employed perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, perceived trust, perceived risk, transactional cost, triability, relative advantage, reliability, and perceived privacy. They attempt to comprehend the relationship between these independent variables and behavioral intention. 298 individuals completed a self-administrated questionnaire in malls and other public locations. They conclude that perceived ease of use and perceived usefulness were the best predictors of behavioral intention to use mobile money transfers in Ghana. Furthermore, perceived trust, reliability, and perceived risk were found to have a substantial impact on behavioral intention. As a financial service, mobile money transfer adoption is contingent on consumers' perceptions of trust and risk. Thus, the findings support the conventional thinking on the effect of risk and trust on financial service usage. The need for potential customers to test the service before adopting it was adequately confirmed. And unified theory of acceptance and use of technology model. And unified theory of acceptance and use of technology was developed by Venkatesh and others. And this theory focuses on the motivations for user behavior, such as perceived usefulness or relative advantage. This model is like the extended version of the TAM model. It's based on 4 factors: performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitating conditions. And this model also considers the gender, age, experience, and volunteering of participants. Abdullah et al. Conducted a study to ascertain the level of awareness regarding fintech applications in mutual fund, unit trust, investment, and to analyze fintech adoption in mutual fund, unit trust, investment. They employed performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitating conditions as independent variables, and additionally included perceived credibility, anxiety, gender, age, experience, and voluntaries of use as additional independent variables. Additionally, they seek to comprehend the effect of these independent variables on the behavioral intention and usage behavior. The research approach used to determine the adoption of fintech services in mutual funds was a questionnaire survey. They incorporated UT and TAM. They conducted a study with 203 random respondents, and responses are examined the data using multiple regression analysis. They concluded that behavioral intention with performance expectancy and social influence has a medium level of correlation, but behavioral intention with effort expectancy has a high level of association. Usage behavior with facilitating conditions has a medium level of correlation, but usage behavior with behavioral intention has a high level of association. There is no substantial relationship between age and performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, or facilitating conditions. Similarly, there is no significant relationship between gender and performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, or facilitating conditions. As a result, they claim that the findings in mutual fund selection criteria show that the performance variable is still the most important factor among investors. Theoretical background, we used this factor in our analysis. Perceived ease of use refers to the extent to which one believes it would be effortless to use a particular system. Perceived usefulness, the degree to which a person believes that using a particular system would enhance his or her job performance. Perceived trust, the belief that merchants are willing to act on the basis of individual expectations. Perceived risk, consumers believed about the potential uncertain negative outcomes from the transaction. Self-efficacy is the belief that one has the capability to perform a particular behavior. Social influence is the perception of a person that most people importing to them think the behavior in question should or should not be performed. Credibility is the extent to which a person believes that the use of mobile banking will have no security or privacy threats. Compatibility is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as consistent with current values, past experience, and the needs of potential users. Relative advantage is the extent to which a person views an innovation as offering an advantage over previous ways of performing the same task. Health and epidemic effects can be expressed as an epidemic that can affect people's spending habits and methods with the developing financial technology by affecting the social and economic structure. Complexity is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as being difficult to use. Quality of internet connection can enable users to perform their transactions easily and effectively. Ubiquity is the ability of users to access mobile banking from anywhere at any time with the help of mobile terminals and networks. Perceived enjoyment is the degree to which computer use is perceived as an enjoyable activity independent of other factors. Personal innovativeness can be expressed as the willingness to try new technologies. Perceived integrity is the commitment to principles in the mutually occurring process. The concept of honesty, which is included in this factor, instills trust in those who are trusted and accelerates compliance by reducing uncertainty, can enable users to perform their transactions easily and effectively. Facilitating conditions mean that users can access resources necessary to engage in any behavior. Perceived cost can be defined as the cost of acquiring and using new technologies. The purpose of this study is to determine the perspectives of customers who use internet banking at a bank branch in Urla, Izmir, about their online payment transactions. Thanks to research, the factors affecting the adoption of online payment transactions by customers in Urla district and using internet banking are revealed, and opinions on what can be done about the factors that make the adoption process difficult are presented. With the COVID-19 pandemic, people have begun to favor residential regions with isolated settlements that are calm. The Urla district in Izmir is one of the districts that fit this criteria. Urla is a district largely free of noise, where natural life can flourish to the maximum extent possible. and as a district with the lowest carbon imprint in Turkey. It's a place where working, retired, and student populations coexist, particularly during the pandemic season. It has grown in popularity as a result. Urla was chosen as a selection point in our analysis based on these factors. The research reveals the factors influencing the adoption of online payment transactions by consumers in the Urla district. To obtain the study's result and analysis, data were collected through questionnaires presented to 348 internet banking users using a simple random sample procedure. A questionnaire was developed using a 5-point Likert scale of 1 equals strongly disagree to 5 equals strongly agree. We used 18 statements from existing literature across 18 dimensions. And the surveys conducted among the online payment users as shown in the table. The female density of the 345 individuals who participated in the study was 57.3%. The male population is 42.7%. The majority of the respondents are university graduates or above, and 24.8% of the respondents are working in private sector, while 336.6% are working in the private sector. The majority of the respondents are between 18 and 45 years of age. Factor analysis determines the interrelationships between a large number of variables by defining sets of variables that are highly interrelated, known as factors. A factor analysis was carried out in the study. The survey asked users of online payments about the 18 factors. The results were obtained using IBM SPSS Statistics 24 Windows. Öztürkoğlu et al. Presented an outline of the factor analysis research methodology used to investigate the primary factors influencing online payment adoption. To improve the interpretation, Verimax rotation is used. And regression analysis is a highly reliable method for measuring correlations between multiple variables. With factor analysis, 18 factors are reduced to 11 factors. Regression analysis is used to identify the impact of factors obtained through exploratory factors, behavioral intention, attitude, and actual usage. And 11 factors: relative advantage, perceived trust, perceived risk, perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, personal innovativeness, complexity, perceived integrity, social influence, self-efficacy, and health and epidemic effects. And our research model is here. And result and discussion, first exploratory factor analysis. Table shows KMO and Bartlett's results. The KMO measures the sampling adequate and would be expected to be greater than 0.5. The sufficiency of the correlations among items was tested through Bartlett's tests. Bartlett's test of sphericity. Bartlett test examines whether there is a relationship between variables based on partial correlations. Bartlett's test provided that the correlations were, when taken collectively, were highly significant at the level 0 level. Both results show that the sample size is suitable for factor analysis. An 11-factor model was created in the first factor analysis. In the 12th factor, no subcomponent was found. According to the explained various percentage criteria, the cumulative total variance explained by these 11 factors is 63.7% according to the practice principal components method, and 63.7% according to the principal axis method. As can be seen, The variance percentages are quite above 60% recommended rate in the social sciences. And according to the findings, the first factor is a multidimensional factor that includes relative advantage, compatibility, quality of internet connection, ubiquity, perceived enjoyment, and facilitating conditions. Among these factors, the most comprehensive of these factors is relative advantage. Thus, it is called relative advantage. Previous research identified 23 antecedents for relative advantage, which are the expected benefits provided by an innovation. The second factor is perceived trust, which is one of the most important factors for user adoption. When users have sufficient confidence in transaction security, and privacy of their information, their feeling of trust increases and they adopt at a greater level. The third component in the analysis is perceived risk. Reducing risks such as transaction risk, system risk, payment risk, security risk, and financial risk will have a positive impact on user adoption of online payment transactions and ensure a better degree of user adoption. Perceived usefulness is the fourth factor. The fact that users save time and effort while performing card payment transactions online increases their efficacy and productivity will have a positive impact on their adoption. Personal innovativeness is another factor. Receiving suggestions about new products and developments from the family of the innovative users would help them adapt better. Complexity is the sixth factor. Financial barriers are one of the most significant barriers stopping users from experimenting with payment methods, and efforts to remove these barriers will have a good impact on user adaptability. Perceived integrity is the seventh factor. Users are involved with companies in operations of online card payment transactions. The experiences of users with the other party in their transactions are crucial. The integrity of the transaction process increases as users perceive that the company they are dealing with is honest, that they will fulfill their commitments, and that there will be no deviations in the information they convey about the transactions. The eighth factor is perceived ease of use. One of the most important factors influencing adoption is perceived ease of use, and making payments by completing transactions easily has a good impact on consumers' adoption. The social influence is one of the factors that users are affected by while making financial transactions. Users tend to perform more online transactions, which promotes their adoption positively, depending on their social position and the recommendations they receive from their relatives. The 10th factor is self-efficacy. Directions are one of the variables that must be present for users to have a great transaction experience. The system's directions during the transaction process have a favorable impact on user adoption. Furthermore, seeing the transaction procedures of other users before performing their own transactions will increase their adoption. The 11th and last aspect is health and epidemic effects. Problems originating from health and epidemic effects have changed consumers' perspectives on online payment, and they have increased their adoption by taking into account this efficacy and effectiveness of transactions, as well as the rapid improvements made in process. Factor analysis reduces 18 factors to 11 factors. Regression analysis is used to identify the impact of the factors obtained through exploratory factor analysis on behavioral intention, attitude, and actual usage. And according to model A1, A2, and B1, relative advantage perceived trust, perceived usefulness, personal innovativeness, perceived integrity, perceived ease of use, social influence, and self-efficacy, health and epidemic effects, and gender male have a positive impact on the attitude and behavioral intention to use online payment system. There is no relationship between complexity and attitude, but perceived risk has a negative impact on attitude and behavioral intention. And according to model B2, relative advantage, perceived usefulness, personal innovativeness, perceived integrity, perceived ease of use, social influence, self-efficacy, and attitude have a positive effects on behavioral intention. And when attitude is brought into the model, the effects of perceived trust, perceived risk, health and epidemic effects, and gender male on behavioral intention are eliminated. And okay, summary results. I can mention summary result. The conclusion about the factors are summarized as follows. Relative advantage, perceived usefulness, personal innovativeness, perceived integrity, perceived ease of use, and health and epidemic effects all have a positive impact on attitude, behavioral intention, and actual online payment usage. And perceived trust, social influence, and self-efficacy all have a positive effect on attitude and behavioral intention, whereas perceived risk has a negative effect. Income, private sector employment, and self-employment all have a positive effect on actual online payment system usage. However, complexity and age have a negative effect. And when behavioral intention and adoption factors are examined in the same model, behavioral intention has no effect on actual usage. Online payment systems are a critical component of fintech service. This study contributes to existing research on the adoption of fintech instruments by empirically analyzing the factors influencing online payment system adoption from the perspective of Turkish bank customers. The factors were identified through a review of existing TAM and ETAM research. Several major conclusions are reached as a result of the research. To begin, the study is a pioneer in incorporating the impact of a pandemic as a new factor into the ETAM model. The results indicate that health and epidemic effects influence attitudes, behavioral intentions, and actual use of online payment system. Another contribution is that prior ETAM models indicated a multitude of adoption factors, but the study reduced 18 factors to 11. Relative advantage is a multidimensional characteristics that includes compatibility, internet connection quality, ubiquity, perceived enjoyment, and facilitating conditions. Previous research on the antecedents of relative advantage supports the findings. The conclusion about the factors are summarized as follows. Relative advantage, perceived usefulness, personal innovativeness, perceived integrity, perceived ease of use, and health and epidemic effects all have a positive impact on attitude, behavioral intention, and actual online payment usage. Perceived trust, social influence, and self-efficacy all have a positive effect on attitude and behavioral intention, whereas perceived risk has a negative effect. Income, private sector employment, and self-employment all have a positive effect on actual online payment system usage. However, complexity and age have a negative effect. When behavioral intention and adoption factors are examined in the same model, behavioral intention has no effect on actual usage. The high rate of online payment usage in Turkey explains this issue. The findings of this study will contribute in the future research on the adoption of next generation payment instruments. And our limitations, this study provides the perspectives of bank customers in Izmir, Turkey, third largest city. The study is conducted among one bank branch's online payment users. This is the study's primary limitation. Future studies, according to the authors, should collect the data from additional locations and countries. This study focuses on online payments, although additional research on the adoption of next generation payment instruments such as digital wallets, NFC, and QR codes could be done. Okay, thank you so much. So that was the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for joining the presentation.